Well, today was the first day back of question period in this new season, and it was bizarrely weird, if I can even say that. Mark Carney made his first ever appearance, and boy, oh boy, did he get a rude awakening. I mean, he stepped foot into the Shark Tank, which is something that he is clearly not prepared for. His answers were, as some could even say, underwhelming. But what I found interesting is partway through the debates, he actually pulled the old pop the smoke and leave. Where have we seen that before? Justin Trudeau. So very, very, very weird that he's repeating the same things that Justin Trudeau did, yet trying to brand himself as a new government. So anyways, we're going to get right into the video in a moment, but not before me asking you, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the video. But before we get into it, I do want to encourage you guys to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. I don't say that to be annoying. And we do have a message from today's sponsor. When I prepare my videos, I make sure that I know both sides of the story. That's why I use Ground News, and that's why I've partnered with them. Ground News is a website and app that pulls sources from thousands of different websites across the internet, organizes them by story, and shows you a visual breakdown of the political bias, ownership, and reliability. Take this story that's barely getting any attention to South Korea's bold arms deal to supply Canada with fighter jets and submarines instead of the United States. You'd think something like this would be on the front page, but apparently it's not. Ground News shows us that over 30 sources have covered the actual story. 67% of it is actually coming from the right. Left-leaning media outlets like CBC and Global News do cover the story, but they keep it surface level. Meanwhile, right-leaning outlets like 1945 dig deeper to point out the serious concerns about Canada's vulnerabilities. I actually found the story my favorite spot of Ground News, the blind spot feed, which is where I go to find out which side is or isn't covering the story. Subscribe to my link down in the description or use the QR code on screen to get 40% off the Vantage plan today. That's the exact same plan that I use. Thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring today's video. With all that being said, let's get into this debate because you're not going to want to miss it. Again, some new faces, a lot of old familiar faces, different vibes. It's going to take some getting used to, but I think that once Pierre Poilievre finds his way into the House for the debates, we are off to the races. So without further ado, here is the highlights from today's question period.
Question! Okay, so honorable interim leader of the opposition, Andrew Scheer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to welcome the Prime Minister to his first official question period. This is where democracy lives, and this is where we provide rigorous scrutiny on every word he says and every dollar he spends on behalf of Canadians. Now, let's talk about those words and dollars. During the election campaign, it was elbows up as he put retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Then secretly, he dropped those tariffs to effectively zero. But he didn't stop there. He told Canadians that the government would collect $20 billion in revenue from those tariffs and use it to cost his platform. Now that those tariffs are going to bring in $0, two quick questions. Why wasn't he honest with Canadians during the election? And how's he going to make up the shortfall? Is he going to borrow it, print it, or tax it?
Oh my goodness.
Right, Honorable Prime Minister.
Here he goes, first question.
Mr. Speaker, may I first thank my constituents from Nepean for giving me the honor and could you also indulge me to say how great it is to see you in the Speaker's chair, and I trust that you're operating under the period of grace that will not be accorded to me, appropriately, as the Leader of the Opposition just said. Mr. Speaker, our tariffs have maximum impact on the United States, minimum impact on Canada, and we are dedicating all the revenues from those tariffs to supporting the workers and businesses affected by the unjustified American actions.
Hear, hear.
He's got no idea what he just stepped into.
Well, he didn't take long to pick up old liberal habits of not being able to answer questions. But Since the election, Canadians have been
Welcome to the big
inundated
leagues.
with grand rhetoric and pretty speeches from this Liberal Party, but they are still suffering under all those policies. Household debt up at record levels, number of people who can't pay their mortgages increasing, food bank use continuing to rise. Now TD Bank is forecasting a recession with hundreds of thousands of lost jobs. The PM said undoing the damage of the last 10 years would require great speed, but he's not going to table a budget for 6 months. If he's the man with the plan and the guy you hire in a crisis, why won't he table a budget before he goes on summer vacation?
The right honourable Prime Minister.
Oh, I missed this.
Mr. Speaker, I understand the member of the opposition is very busy, didn't have a chance to study closely the 100-day plan of the former member from Ottawa, Carleton, which did not include a budget. Our plan includes legislating for one Canadian economy and nation-building projects immediately to grow this economy, and we expect the support from all in this House.
Brutal.
They must be really afraid to come clean with Canadians if they're going to punt it off into the fall. But, Mr. Speaker, with the throne speech yesterday, Liberals have effectively admitted that it was their policies that caused the suffering for Canadians. Their reckless borrowing and massive deficits caused the inflation. The carbon tax drove up prices and drove away investment. And their anti-development bills chased jobs out of Canada. Now, the Prime Minister is claiming that somehow the Liberals have changed. Well, he has a chance to prove it to Canadians. If he's serious, will he tell Canadians that pipelines are part of his values by repealing Bill C-69, the No More Pipelines bill?
The right honourable Prime Minister.
Put some W's down in the chat for Scheer.
Canada's new
Mr. Speaker.
government is acting immediately
It's Mr. Speaker to you.
to grow this economy. I just made my maiden speech in this House. Canada's new government, Mr. Speaker, is acting immediately to grow this economy. One Canadian economy out of 13, nation-building projects, one project office, working with the provinces to cooperate. We expect the support for the members opposite.
Carney is so screwed. He's got no idea what he's doing.
Lakeland.
Yesterday, the PM said Canadians shouldn't focus on pipelines. We'll tell that straight to the hundreds of thousands of workers who lost their jobs when these Liberals killed pipelines, LNG exports to allies, and capped Canadian oil and gas. Last year, 98% of Canadian crude went to the U.S., Canada's biggest customer and competitor, due to these Liberals. But in April, the PM said he won't repeal their No New Pipelines, Never Build Anything unlawful Bill C-69 and ignores premiers and businesses. When will he repeal Bill C-69?
Yeah. Like a firecracker, man.
The right Minister for Natural
Honor to
Resources.
rise in the House for the first time. I wish to thank the people of Markham Thornhill for their trust. I'm also thinking of my
Come on, get on with it, Tim.
I'm also thinking of my family who have supported me from day one and my parents who I wish were still with us. It's time to get many projects built here in Canada. We will cut red tape, fast-track projects, and approve them within 2 years. We will create jobs for Canadians and build the strongest economy in the G7.
Let's throw some W's down in the chat, huh, for the Conservatives.
In 5 years alone, these Liberals killed 16 major energy projects and $176 billion in options to make Canada affordable, safe, self-reliant, and united. And half these ministers, they're the same. These Liberals must kill C-69, but they can't get their story straight. 2 weeks ago, the Culture Minister said Canada doesn't need more pipelines. Last week, the Energy Minister talked a good game, but just like right now, won't commit to concrete action. How can Canadians believe anything they say? Will they repeal Bill C-69? Yes or no? Yeah!
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
The Prime Minister has been clear.
Man, what a boring
Yes, we will
guy.
support new pipelines if there is consensus in Canada for them. With American tariffs threatening our economy and threatening our sovereignty, we must protect our energy security. There is no question energy is Canada's power. It will help us build the strongest economy in the G7, guide the world in the right direction, and help us be strong at the negotiating table. We will win this trade war. We will make Canada an energy superpower.
Oh, yeah. If you don't put me to sleep first.
Over 9 years, the Liberals' anti-energy laws have weakened our country to the benefit of the United States.
That's right.
Canadian oil and gas piped to the United States provides jobs and revenues for Americans, but not for Canadians. But get this, it's at a discount. Canada's energy potential has been stalled by anti-energy laws from the Liberal government for close to a decade.
What's going on with the feed today, huh?
Will the Prime Minister scrap the job-killing and economy-killing energy production cap?
Yes.
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Oh, here comes Waldo.
Mr. Speaker, while my Conservative colleagues are interested in playing politics, I'm interested
It's literally the job. Politics is literally the fucking job, bro.
Consensus. We will make Canada an energy superpower in both conventional and clean energy by cutting red tape, fast-tracking projects, and approving them within 2 years. This means creating new jobs and growing the economy. We can make Canada strong and protect ourselves from American tariffs if we work together with Indigenous partners, industry, and workers, but also...
The Honourable Member...
He has no free will. He doesn't know how to talk without a piece of paper.
Time is up.
Even the BC-NDP have removed their decarbonization policies for LNG export facilities.
Yeah.
This is not
David Eby
politics.
did.
Even Canada's parliamentary budget officer forecasts a $20.5 billion reduction in GDP and potential job loss of 54,000 full-time jobs under this energy production cap.
Right.
Canada's loss is America's gain.
That's right. Yes. Here.
Again, to the Prime Minister. Will the Prime Minister scrap the Canadian job-killing and Canadian economy-killing energy production cap, yes or no?
Yeah.
The Honourable Minister of Environment and Climate Change.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank the constituents of Toronto Danforth for giving me this opportunity to stand up for Canada and to build a strong Canada. To the member opposite's question, I want to be clear. If Canada wants to be an energy superpower, the Prime Minister has stated it. It's going to be low cost, low risk, and low carbon. We're going to get projects built right across our country while making sure that we protect the environment.
The Honourable Member for Terra Nova, the
Goodness.
Peninsula.
Mr. Speaker, it's an honor to rise here representing the hard-working people of Newfoundland and Labrador for the very
Oh,
first
you can
time.
tell where he's from, huh? Who to be the bad guy? Look at that. Prince Charming himself.
While my province of Newfoundland and Labrador has the highest unemployment rate in the country at nearly 10%, the industrial carbon tax is compromising our competitive edge and shifting our jobs abroad. Canada's energy, mining, and forestry workers are pleading to have the industrial carbon tax removed. My question is, will this Prime Minister fully repeal the industrial carbon tax to create jobs at a time we need it the most?
Man, I'm so happy that guy's in. We need that accent. That's a hard East Coast accent.
Mr. Speaker, making sure that polluters pay is a central part of moving forward and being competitive as an energy superpower. When we look at other countries around the world, they have border carbon adjustments in place. They are looking to Canada to make sure that the energy that we provide is low risk, low cost, and low carbon.
Nobody cares about low carbon. We just want to get stuff done.
London South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Liberals claim they want to make Canada an energy superpower, but they forget it's their record over the last decade that has decimated our energy sector and kept our resources in the ground. Their oil and gas production cap will kill tens of thousands of jobs and cost our economy $20 billion. Their industrial carbon tax will cost Canadian businesses more dependent on the United States. The solution is easy. Will the Prime Minister repeal Liberals' costly anti-energy laws?
Yo, put some W's down for True North. Look at that, man. Guy threw me off. I forgot he even won.
The Honourable Minister of Industry and Canadian Economic Development.
Thank you. I would like to thank first and foremost the constituents from Huntsic-Cartierville. Merci à tous les citoyens d'Huntsic-Cartierville. That we are in a trade war that has been launched by the U.S. And we know that hardworking Canadians are feeling the grunt of this trade war, particularly in the manufacturing sector, particularly in the auto, steel, aluminum sectors. And we continue to fight for them. That's why we will make sure that we invest in them, that we work on making sure that we attract the investments across the world while making sure that we grow the fastest economy of the G7.
Mr. Speaker, we're seeing two very different narratives on housing, one from the campaign and a very different one from the minister. The new housing minister, the former mayor from Vancouver, who let housing prices go up 179% in just 8 years, is saying something very different. The minister answered a resounding no when he was asked if home prices should come down from their record highs. If he's adamant that prices shouldn't go down, how much does he think that they should go up?
Look at Cal in the background, Melissa Landsman, Leslie Lewis.
Infrastructure and Minister responsible for Pacific Economic Development Canada.
Merci, Monsieur Président. Et je suis honoré.
It's an honor for me to be here in the House.
Vancouver, Fraser, South Burnaby, for giving me the
fart
opportunity to
face,
represent them
bottom
here.
left.
On the issue of affordability and affordable housing, well, first, I'm very proud to be part of a government that's committed to cutting taxes from day one here in the House. I'm also looking forward to pursuing the most ambitious affordable housing plan in the history of Canada, delivering a GST
Greg Fergus is sitting back there,
and ensuring we bring the development costs down.
The honourable member for Thornhill.
The minister ought to know that the housing market is already in chaos. Sellers can't sell and buyers can't buy. It's proving out. Only 310 houses were sold across the entire GTA. That's a staggering 89% below 10-year average. Lower supply, higher prices spells more trouble for Canadians. So instead of building homes and bringing the cost down, he's actually building more bureaucracy. So we know that housing prices went up 179% when he was in charge of housing in Vancouver. How much higher are they going to get when he's in charge of housing for the entire country?
Throw some W's down for Melissa, huh? She deserves it.
For Pacific Economic Development Canada.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the member, it's not about reducing the value of an individual's home or senior's home. The member may wish to force seniors to sell their homes for less. We're going to focus on building more affordable housing and delivering a cut to the GST to first-time home buyers.
The honourable member for Parry Sound, Muskoka.
Mr. Speaker, the sale of new homes in the GTA just hit a 7th straight month of record-setting lows. Only 310 new homes were sold in the GTA in April. That's a 72% drop over last year and an 89% drop in the 10-year average, with condo sales plummeting 94%. Wow. The report warns that there will be a massive housing shortage in 2 years. Prices are too high for buyers and they're too low for sellers. So can the Prime Minister tell us what he plans to do to help the buyers that cannot afford to buy and the sellers that cannot afford to sell? Tell us what he plans to do to help the buyers that cannot afford to buy.
Such a good question.
And the sellers that cannot afford to sell.
The universe asked it twice.
L'honorable ministre des Finances et du Revenu National.
It's good to be back, and in fact, the Conservatives have not changed, Mr. Speaker. They should listen more. My colleague was very clear about what we're doing. We're eliminating GST for first-time home buyers, Mr. Speaker, in the country, for houses up to $1 million. We should all celebrate, Mr. Speaker, and we expect the Conservative to support the Ways and Means motion we have put, Mr. Speaker, because this is how we can help Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
When he talks, it sounds like he's tone deaf.
Well, Mr. Speaker, tax relief is certainly welcome, and it's frankly long overdue from this government, but the meager tax cuts that they're talking about will save families $70 a month. We're dealing with families that are looking at $5,000 a month mortgages or more. Equifax is reporting that the mortgage delinquencies in Ontario are at the highest level ever recorded. They're up 70%, Mr. Speaker.
I saw that this morning.
This is not a coincidence. It's certainly not a surprise. So instead of building a third federal housing bureaucracy, why don't we just get more homes built?
Pretty simple.
The Honourable Minister of Finance and National Revenue.
Speaker, in one end, it's encouraging that we hear the Conservative will support our motion, but it's concerning to a member, Mr. Speaker, to really talk down a measure that will help 22 million Canadians in this country, Mr. Speaker. This is
right over his shoulder.
This is up to $840 for a family with 2 incomes, Mr. Speaker. The people in my riding and his riding are welcoming this measure, and we hope the Conservative will support us. This is how you support Canadians.
Liberal policies like Bill C-5 have led to a crime wave across Canada. Violent crime is up 50%. Gun violence is up 116%. Just yesterday, a drive-by shooting shook our small rural community of Cayuga. This crime wave is no accident. It is a direct result of the Liberal policies like C-5 that has ended mandatory jail time for serious gun offences and drug crimes. Will the Prime Minister end this crime wave by repealing Trudeau's Bill C-5?
Yeah. Wow. Well said, Doctor.
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And let me just take a moment to thank the people of Scarborough-Gilbert-Bruce Park for my fourth consecutive mandate. To my friend opposite, my heart goes out to those who were impacted by the violence in her community just yesterday. I want to assure her and I want to assure all Canadians that we will address issues of serious violent offenders seriously. We will make sure that we tighten up bail reform, and we will ensure that our government will always be there to protect Canadians from coast to coast to coast.
The Honourable Member for Haldimand Norfolk.
Mr. Speaker, a serious issue is the will of Canadians to live in peace, which they
need to
once
turn up
did.
her microphone.
Now they live in fear because of Liberal soft-on-crime policies. Liberal policies like Bill C-5 and Bill C-75 put repeat violent offenders back on the streets, contributing to the suffering of communities across Canada. Premiers, police, legal experts, civil liberties advocates all demand change. So I ask the question one more time. Will the Prime Minister restore safe streets and repeal Bill C-5 and Bill C-75? Yes or no?
There you go. Put some W's down in the chat for Dr. Lewis, huh?
On April the 28th, Canadians gave us a mandate to ensure that our streets are safe. And since that time, we've been working together with law enforcement to work towards a safer communities across Canada. I want to just outline some of the highlights from the Chief of Police for the City of Toronto, who indicated that auto thefts, for example, have decreased by 39%, home invasions down by 42%, homicides down by 67%, and shootings down by 46%. We have a lot more work to do, Mr. Speaker, and we will work together with law enforcement to ensure the safety and security of all Canadians. Our government will always be there to protect Canadians.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Gateway.
Mr. Speaker, families across Canada feel helpless because these Liberals have done nothing to stop violent crime rising across the country.
So much worse.
They stick with their ideological soft-on-crime policies, and that is why extortion gangs are targeting Canadian businesses and their families. In fact, just this month, we've seen more shootings, arson, and even a murder potentially linked to extortion. Yet Canada still has no mandatory minimum penalties for extortion. So will the Prime Minister work with Conservatives to bring in the same legislation that I brought in last Parliament to bring in tougher penalties for extortion?
The Honourable Secretary of State for combating crime.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You heard it in the throne speech yesterday. It is a top priority of this new government. We are partnering with police services across this country to fight organized crime. We'll make it tougher for violent criminals to get bail. We'll impose stricter sentences for repeat offenders. We are serious. We're going to get to work, and we're going to fight crime.
We're going to fight crime.
The Honourable Member. Before taking office, the Prime Minister helped establish multi-billion-dollar
dollar investment funds that were placed in offshore tax havens. Now, he's shielding those investments from public scrutiny with a blind trust that hides but doesn't remove potential conflicts of interest. Now, Canadians are lined up at food banks in record numbers. They can't pay their rent, but they are paying their taxes, and they want to know if the Prime Minister paid taxes on his investments. So can the Prime Minister, who I welcome here today, confirm that none of the investments that he placed in the blind trust were previously held in offshore tax havens?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Speaker, as you know, the Prime Minister has followed all the rules even before they were required. He'll continue complying with all the rules. Opposition members like to distract Canadians with these hypotheticals and conjured scenarios. The fact is we have a Prime Minister, a new government, hard at work at creating opportunity for Canadians, the strongest economy in the G7, and reducing taxes. The opposition don't like that so much, so they dig dirt on day one. Shame on them, Mr. Speaker. We're going to continue our work.
What the heck are you talking about, dude?
Honourable Member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Canadians don't want an explanation in how to bend over backwards to fit through ethical loopholes. They want to be reassured that after a decade of serial ethical law breaking, that they can have confidence that the Prime Minister is going above just the basic minimum standard. So the Prime Minister, again, who I welcome to the chamber, can he stand up and just assure Canadians that none of the funds that he had previously were held in offshore tax havens, and can he tell Canadians what those investments were in when he sat at his first cabinet meeting?
Well said.
Speaker, Canada has among the most stringent ethics guidelines in the world. The Prime Minister has complied with those ethics guidelines and surpassed the requirements contained in those ethics guidelines. What the Prime Minister is busy doing is not what this member is busy doing. What the Prime Minister is busy doing is creating opportunity for Canada, standing up in a trade war against the United States, reducing our taxes, building new homes, and creating the strongest economy in the G7. That's what we're up to.
We are certainly not the strongest economy, and we are also not in a trade war right now.
Canada is in an economic crisis without any plan because the Liberals shut this place down for half the year to avoid accountability. And now the Prime Minister says no budget before fall. With record high food bank usage, a rise in the number of those using those food banks that are fully employed, a rise in mortgage delinquencies. TD Bank now also predicts that over 100,000 Canadian jobs will be lost due to a looming recession. Given all of this information, how is it even possible the Liberals won't table a budget this spring?
Yeah. Well said, man. We need the attack dogs.
I welcome the question from my colleague, Mr. Speaker. We're being very clear that there will be a budget in early fall of this year, Mr. Speaker. But in the meantime, why we should celebrate, and we just seen now that the Conservatives are going to support our motion, Mr. Speaker. Now this is good thing, Mr. Speaker. Now Canadians will see that in this House of Commons, we need to do things for them. The first thing that we presented, that we promised and we're delivering, is a tax cut for the middle class, Mr. Speaker. 22 million Canadians will having a tax cut, Mr. Speaker. This is what we've been elected for. We're going to fight for Canadians. Every day, Mr. Speaker, is a good day to fight for Canadians.
The Honourable Member for Calgary East. The Prime Minister sloganeered on a plan, yet refuses to tell anyone what that plan is. He's overseeing the longest period without a budget since the 1960s outside of COVID.
That's gross.
Uncertainty about spending and their debt that they're going to accumulate scares away investors, small businesses, and Canadians during a cost of living crisis. We know that this Prime Minister is going to spend more than Justin Trudeau. Why won't they be clear with Canadians and let them know how much more inflation and interest rates are going to go up because of all their spending?
Transparency is key, and Carney campaigned on that. But that's some W's down in the chat, for the Conservatives.
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Ministre responsable de Développement économique Canada.
And Economic Development Canada for Quebec's regions.
Justified tariffs by the U.S. against Canadians are making Canadians' lives much more unaffordable. That's why we're cutting taxes. As the Minister of Finance just mentioned, this new government is cutting taxes on the middle class, making sure also that we're cutting the carbon tax and cutting the GST on first-time homebuyers. We will create the strongest and fastest fastest growing economy of the G7. This is the utmost priority of our government, and we will deliver. Thank you.
The honourable member for Newmarket Aurora.
The Prime Minister claimed being the man with a plan. Very well. Where is it? After 14 years in finance, I have learned that if you don't know your numbers, you're out. We know the Prime Minister is committed to spending more than Justin Trudeau, but he won't even tell Canadians how much. TD reported that Canada is nearing a 2-quarter recession with up to 100,000 job losses this fall. So I have one simple question. With the economic storm clouds moving in, how is it possible not to have a budget this spring?
Yeah, look at that.
The Honourable Minister of Finance and National Revenue.
Speaker, I have one simple answer. We have a plan, and it's a plan in action, Mr. Speaker. I welcome this member to the House of Commons. But the plan, Mr. Speaker, is simple. We're going to cut tax for 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. And in fact, the leader of the Conservatives just said outside the House that he's going to support our plan. So that, Mr. Speaker, is a step forward. Not only we're going to do that, we're going to remove GST for first-time home buyers for a house up to $1 million. And, Mr. Speaker, we're going to remove the consumer carbon price from law, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, why is gas going up then?
For Canadian. This is building a better economy for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this video. Like I said, kind of weird, takes a little bit of getting used to, but I'd love to know your guys' thoughts and comments down below. Do you like the new season? Do you think it's kind of off? Do you think it's going to take some getting used to? Let me know your guys' thoughts. That's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later on. Bye for now.